She is a financial planner and advisor.
She's the founder and president of Zinnia Wealth Management. She's also a popular radio show host.
There's a way to have the money in the market and have protected growth.
This holistic approach will help people get to and through retirement.
Absolutely.
You have to change the way that you think. It's not about having these double-digit returns anymore. Things are changing, and you have to have an advisor that's keeping up with the changes.
Your outcome is going to become very desirable if you have some sort of coach helping you along the way.
And our next recipient for the Media and Communications XP, Charisse
Rivers.
Do not have to risk all your money in the market to survive, because it's about the retirement dream.
Hello and welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk, home of Zinnia Wealth Management. I am Charisse Rivers, your host for the next half hour. Thank you for joining us every Wednesday at 3:30. This is taped live. If you miss it, you can always go back and watch it. I am here to educate, inspire you, and get you to retirement and beyond. A quick pregame. We're going to talk a little bit about our roller coaster ebbs and flow of the stock market today. What's happening in North and Central Florida, a little bit of trivia, and then we're going to talk about what you came here to learn. And today we're learning about, should we have gold and silver in our portfolio? Should you be holding it? Should your advisor buy it, an exchange traded fund or mutual fund? So we're going to go through the gamut on there just so you know what you should be doing next. But remember, whatever I talk about today, I'm not advising you to do it until I sit down with you. This is just blanket information, just to kind of get your whistle wet and then possibly come in and see us. Don't forget, you can go to zinniawealth.com, download our little red book to retirement. It's absolutely free. Okay, so let's get started. This stock market, if you were tuning in last Wednesday, Tesla and Apple hit all-time highs. I literally said, look out and be careful because the roller coaster might be coming. And literally 2 days later, Tesla and Apple crashed and burned, went from like $450 a share to $350 a share on Tesla. And so you got to be careful when you're investing in these stocks. If you're committing to them, you better commit to them long term. If you're committing to them only for the momentum of them and not for the long run, then you need to get out. That's the bottom line. But these are long-term stocks you want to hold. And I hope these aren't dollars that you're living on right now. Because remember, short-term dollars should not be invested in the market. Okay, we're going to move forward because Friday, by end of Friday, Tesla lost 16%. It went an all-time high, dropped, lost 16%. Tuesday, which was yesterday, it dropped further. So did Apple. NASDAQ totally was plummeting. So was the S&P 500, Dow Jones, you name it. Everything's going down. So a lot of people want to know, why did all these go down so fast and so much? And the S&P 500, basically 25% of the S&P 500 is all tech stock. So you wonder why. We have tech stock and Dow Jones and all these indexes, those tech stocks have been driving the market. Just know what goes up must also come down. And we can also rebound because just literally 2 minutes ago, and I got an alert that the Dow Jones is up 700 points and the NASDAQ is back up 400 points. Wow, I can imagine being an individual investor and trying to understand this market. And if you got emotional and you sold yesterday because you thought the market was going to go down further, you know, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what to do. If that is you, it doesn't mean you made a bad decision. It just means don't make another bad decision. Make sure you're talking to a financial advisor. So if somebody's holding your hands and giving some tips and, you know, what you're trying to accomplish, because depending on your age, you might be in accumulation age or you might be in preservation age, right? So be careful with the stock market because we had a huge losing streak and it could be right back coming here soon. You know, we have a picture of the NASDAQ 100, Mikey, if you want to put it up. And you can see that they call this a bearish engulfing candle. Okay, so a bearish engulfing candle typically doesn't happen when markets are going up. Typically, we see it when markets are going down. And so this was something that I'm not used to seeing. So like I say, even though past performance is not indicative of future results, these technical indicators and these charts aren't necessarily always right. So if you're using charting for your portfolio, you know, I hope you know what you're doing because, you know, we're in this odd time period. We have a health crisis, a financial crisis, economic crisis, and there's a lot going on. And I'm a little worried about, you know, what's going to come here in October. We got election on the horizon. lowest interest rate environment I've ever seen in history. So people are forced to invest in equities. And unfortunately, you're having to risk a lot, which in retirement, you don't want to trade the stress of work for the stress of retirement. So this is why we talk about you have to do the math. There's a math equation to everything that we do in the office. I need to learn what that is so that you have confidence as you're in retirement. So you don't have to worry about so many ebbs and flows and where your income stream is coming from. Okay, so we are going to move on. Mike, did that picture come up? I didn't see it. Super. Just so you guys know, Mike is my director behind the scenes posting our pictures. All right. What did Jim Cramer say? So here's a fabulous chart of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, of what actually happened. So as you can see, the yellow line was the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, that's all technology stocks. And you can see it really went up, and there was one dip that came straight down. You'll see underneath it, the green line is S&P, the Dow Jones, Russell 2000 is the last one. You see they all came down at the same time. So a lot of people say, well, why did everything come down? Well, every one of those things probably has a little tech stock in it. So that could be why. So there was this market sell-off. So you need to know, just because you're diversified doesn't mean you're going to not take losses. So you want to be very careful of that. But you can see that the NASDAQ grew so far and so fast. It was an anomaly, and we were bound to hit a bottom. Hopefully we've stopped there. We don't really know, and it comes back up. But after seeing today's trading, it's looking more optimistic. But again, we don't have that crystal ball. We can wake up, and that's 700 points that we are up today. We can be down 900 points tomorrow. So you're a few steps, one step forward, two steps back. That's our stock market. So make sure not all your dollars are doing something like that. So I call it riding the wave of technology. A lot of people were just riding it thinking, oh, greed and fear. Fear gets in the way, greed gets in the way. And they're thinking, oh, it can't happen. It's going to keep going. Well, there you go. It happened. All right, let's move on to Central Florida news. Donald Trump was in Jupiter, Florida, just a few days back. I'm going to tell you, if you've never been to Jupiter, what a little hidden gem. I've got a family member that just moved there, and when I went to visit, I could not believe if I wasn't living in this wonderful city of Ocala and have kids here that I'm growing, that would be my next stop because prices are still pretty good. But anyways, I went on a tangent. Donald Trump was there. Basically, he said before flying, I'm coming to visit the great state of Florida. He talked about, he vowed to punish China. I could not believe that, for sending COVID-19 to the United States. I thought that was quite interesting. He also said, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world. We will end the alliance with China once and for all. So Donald Trump means business. He is trying to create, America as our hub where we're manufacturing, making things here. And I love that because that's going to bring a lot more dollars to the United States and also help us get out of debt, most likely, so we're not having to get loans from other countries. So I love that he's always about that. And I'm for ending our grouping with China because I'm over it. I don't know if you guys are, especially since they're handling a lot of our prescription drugs. Governor DeSantis, he was in the Villages this weekend. He said, never again are we ever going to have a lockdown. The stuff that comes out of his mouth. He says that, but if it's mandated, he can't help it. But he says, you know what? I want to spur this economy. I want people flying. I want people visiting. We need to get the state of Florida moving and grooving. I'm all about it. We had every week that goes by, we have less COVID cases, less hospital stays. So we're becoming more empowered here to say, hey, let's get out, let's get moving. Disney World's open. They are doing a great job with masks and sanitizers. I think it'd be hard to even get the COVID virus at Disney because they're so strict with policy there, and still is a good time. Actually, it's probably a great time to go visit because there's less people, less lines, instead of an hour line, 15-minute line. I choose that option. All right, let's talk about Central Florida. Okay, so Gainesville, there was an article that came out. It says, quoted experts as saying there's little risk to getting COVID-19 from surfaces such as grocery packages, anything that's coming to your house. So that's good. So they said, stop all the wiping down. You're going to be fine. I will admit, when COVID started, I was one of those people ordering from online and wiping things down. But it's been a long time since I did that. I think I only did it twice till I listened to Dr. Lane. on 97.3 FM The Sky, smart guy. And I said, okay, maybe it's a little overkill. So again, Central Florida news, not a whole lot going on. A nice thing is this lower COVID viruses. I will say Gainesville did see a higher tick up in COVID viruses, only by 50. That's not terrible, I will say, because remember the colleges are, they're open and kids are going back to school. So, I would assume there would be 500. So 50 is really nothing. So I'm thinking we're looking pretty good. All right, let's go to our trivia. Now, Mikey, did we have any winners last week? Okay, so everybody got one wrong last week. So this week's going to be easy, okay? So nobody got it. Remember, if you get all 4 questions right, you're going to win a $200 check that goes to your church or a 501c3 charity. I don't care how many I'm going to give out. I'm just wanting to send these checks because there's a lot of them ready to go out. But you have to get 2 questions from last week's show. So you got to go back and watch it, okay? It was about, I think, real estate. Yes, it was. And then there's a fun question and a get to know Charisse question. So let's move on this week. So number 1 from Zinnia U last week says, which of the following are ways that you can invest in real estate? A, buy rental properties. B, flip homes. C, REITs or DSTs, which are Delaware Statutory Trusts. And or D, all of the above. Number 2, from the last Zinnia U, what did I say DST can function? Okay, and how does it work? And it's A, as a 1031 exchange, B, a 50-50 exchange, C, A, 100 exchange, or D, none of the above. So what did I say a DST can function or work as? Okay, here's a fun one. All of you should have this one. I actually think we used this question once before. Number 3, which Madonna album was first female artist to sell 5 million copies in America? Okay, and it came out in 1984. True Blue, Like a Virgin, Bedtime Stories, or Madonna? Come on, you guys know this one. Number 4, to get to know Charisse a little bit better, Charisse has been recognized 2 years in a row in the Gator 100 honoree. What does that mean? Well, does it mean A, you worked for, let me see, sorry, I just had somebody just pop around my office corner. I apologize for that interruption. Okay, let me read that again. What has been recognized 2 years in a row as a Gator 100 honoree? What does that mean? It means she has worked with over 100 Gators. B, it means she is recognized as one of the world's 100 fastest growing Gator-owned led businesses. C, it means she has attended a Gator 100 football game. D, none of the above. Okay, you guys answer all 4 of them, put them in the text, and we'll go from there. Okay, now we're here for the Zinnia U section for you to learn about gold and silver. Should you have gold and silver? We're getting that question so much during volatile times when we get close to the election and uncertain markets. People want to run to gold and silver, and so we're going to say yay or nay, what we think, and make sure you're talking to your advisors or reviewing this with somebody that does this for a living. So let's start with gold. Should you have gold? Should you have silver? So gold basically says when markets go up, the equities market, sometimes gold goes down. Sometimes when equity markets go down, gold goes up. And so it's kind of unpredictable, but you can kind of watch it. You can also watch the dollar. So if the dollar is going down, typically we see gold go up. And if the dollar, US dollar, goes up, gold will go down. And so nothing is exact, and it's not always true. So I tell folks, if you're going to get gold, are you buying it for momentum? Are you buying it because you're using it for bartering later because you feel like that's something you need to do? So you have to figure out why you're using it, why you're going to buy it, because there's some positives and negatives, so pros and cons. So let's talk about the pros. So the pros are it's an inflation hedge. So you can make a lot of money on it, right? But here's the problem. It's illiquid. You need to know a lot about gold and when to buy and sell it because you could also lose your short. So you can't take income from it and it's not liquid. But the pros are it's an inflation hedge. We see historically when we're getting ready for an election, we'll see gold go up because people are just not sure who's going to be president. And there's always this back and forth. So they feel safer in gold, and which is okay as well. But the question is, if you're going to get these commodities, gold and silver, how much should you have? And so I tell folks, and it's also individual depending if I get to speak with you, if you have a portfolio, your liquid part of your portfolio, 401ks, IRAs, individual accounts, no more than 10% of your portfolio, whether you go buy it from somebody or you have your advisor buy it for you, and or if you hold it. So, but then I've seen other people where they get a little bit more, and some people they get a little bit less, and it depends on what you're trying to do. So the return on investment can be very hard. And so if the market goes up, most people tend to buy gold at a high and then they sell it at a low. So that's normally even when you're buying stocks. You buy high, you sell low. That's just our emotional state that happens. So remember, gold is, for the long haul unless you're really good at trading, okay? So the next part would be, let's talk about silver. So we're just going to talk a little bit about each. I will tell you, silver is more volatile than gold. Right? Yes, the price is lower, so you can buy more, but it's more volatile. So be very careful when you're, especially nearing retirement, what you're trying to get. Because some people's like, Charisse, should I buy more silver? Should I buy more gold? So let's just talk about silver. Silver, once upon a time, was used for photography, but since digital cameras come out, it's not as much used for that. But it's used for industrials, electronic appliance, semiconductors, microcircuits, I didn't even know that, and batteries. So silver has become a commodity because we're using it for so many things. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll find another use where we could use it for more things. But in the meantime, I'm not investing in silver if anybody wants to know. I do like some gold. Now let's talk about the pros. If you're going to get gold and you're going to do it on your own, I like it when you go get the gold from the pawn shop or whoever's selling it, the dealer, and you're keeping it in your vault because you have control. Because if you're buying gold for the long run and you're buying it because you feel markets are going to crash or going to have a crisis, I would definitely recommend you keep it because you use it as a bartering tool if you think things are going to get that bad, right? I say if markets get that bad and our world economy gets that bad, we're probably going to be wondering where our next canned goods coming from. So I know everybody is different and we all walk a different line, but make sure you don't overdo it with the gold. So the cons about gold though is that there's no income, right? So you can't collect the interest, it's not liquid, and it's costly. So there's commissions. When you go buy gold and you sell it back to whoever you bought it for eventually, you have to ask, what are the commissions or these points back to you if I sell it? If it's like 11 and 12%, that means your gold has to make at least that much to break even. So you want to make sure it's really low cost commissions, like 3 to 5%. If you can get lower, that's fantastic. And so you just want to be very costly of that because you also have to worry about sales tax, storage costs, and then if you're holding it, theft. Somebody comes in your house and steals it. So you have a lot to worry about too when you're actually holding your gold and you're having to go back to the dealer and sell it and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to do, but you can use bullion bars, bullion coins, and jewelry, right? So those are all great things if you're going to hold on to the gold. All right, staying on track here because I don't want to stay inch by inch here. You guys know I can get on tangents. So let's talk about exchange traded funds and mutual funds. So you can buy gold through exchange traded funds and mutual funds. And if you've ever listened to one of my shows before, you've definitely heard me talk about the mutual fund and exchange traded fund, one that has higher commissions and fees versus the other. I'm a big fan of the exchange traded funds if you're going to go down that route. And personally, in our portfolios, we do have a gold exchange traded fund. Okay, so low cost, and you can get out of them really quickly. So the difference between exchange traded fund and a mutual fund when you're holding gold is the exchange traded fund you can get out pretty quickly. It's more liquid, so I can get out of it in like a minute if we needed to get out. Mutual fund, you could trade it at 10 o'clock in the morning, but we don't know what price we get to the end of day, right? Mutual funds have more commissions and internal fees by a long shot compared to exchange traded funds. So I'm always about with lower fees, but what are things that are most efficient? And so big fan of exchange traded funds. What I like about using exchange traded fund also, mutual funds will do this as well. You actually can get dividends and income if you use a fund to buy your gold versus when you just hold your own gold, you can't take any income from it. So the positive thing about exchange traded funds also is you get an income from it and those dividends, which is really great, and costs are down. Now, the cons definitely, there could be default. It could crash and burn. So that's just kind of what you get. It depends who is doing the gold. So I have here, default was my biggest one. Financial institutions, if they make the wrong move, they get the wrong managers, when gold's going up, you could still be losing depending on what they have in their exchange traded fund and or mutual fund, okay? Let's talk about gold mining stocks. So Warren Buffett recently bought Barrick Gold. If anybody remembers, it wasn't too long ago, like 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And the thing is the Barrick Gold, it's a mining company. So you're investing in a mining company. You're not investing in gold. So that mining company is dependent on how well it does. So it has expenses, it's got to pay employees. They could have bad management. So it can go up and down. And since Warren Buffett bought it, actually has gone down. But it doesn't mean you can't go buy the Barrick Gold Fund and an exchange traded fund gold, right? So you can maybe diversify. I'm kind of a fan of the Barrick Gold just because it's more of a company-driven type of investment that I think might do well. But again, you just never know what's happening behind the scenes. So sometimes there is more risk when you buy these gold mining type exchange traded funds. So it's gold. It's actually, if you type it at ticker symbol into whatever you're looking at, the stock market, it's actually spelled out GOLD. Okay, so be very careful there, because these gold miners, what if they're not producing? There's no production, right? It could be an issue. I don't want to forget this, because gold fluctuates a lot and it's dependent on a lot of things. And so I always say gold, and people who hold gold and silver, they're kind of like hoarders, because you buy all the gold and you keep it, right? And one day you're just like, you know what? I want to sell it. And so when they're selling it, they're trying to make the most money that they can. But what happens is the new people who are buying it, there's such a large supply now, or at least a supply if they're keeping it, vice versa, supply and demand. You guys know how that works. If there's a lot of supply versus a lot of demand, prices fluctuate. So if they're hoarding it, prices go up. If they're selling it, prices go down because there's more in the marketplace. So you also got to time that a little bit, and it can happen fast. So you want to make sure that you're good on that area and you kind of understand how that works. Just remember, don't go alone when you're buying gold and silver, because you can make some major mistakes. I've seen so many people say, sure, I bought it here, I sold it here. They got emotional. They weren't sure to do. It sounded good. My neighbor did it. I was watching this television commercial and they're like, buy gold. And when you see more television commercials about buying gold, that's because more people are buying it. So you got to be careful with all that. Okay, so just whichever is better. I put a comparison here. Gold prices is less volatile than silver, so you may be better option to buy gold for if you're going to go alone. Silver is cheaper than gold, but it's riskier. So I'm just summing up everything. If you're buying gold and silver, you're going to get a lot more silver, so you have to store it, and there's more to store. Versus gold, you get a smaller amount, so you don't have to store as much. So you got to remember that. But what I like to look at is what Jim Cramer's saying, Dave Ramsey, some of these famous people out there. But let's start with Forbes. What does Forbes recommend when it comes to gold? I'm just going to read it. Gold is a better investment for the average precious metals investor. Gold has much larger liquid markets and is driven mostly by investment and jewelry demand. The price of gold is less volatile than silver. So we kind of already went over that. So Robert Kawasaki, I don't like what he says, but you just don't know. He says he's been a long advocate of both gold and silver, and he says, in his opinion, the most undervalued, lowest risk, best investment of all asset classes is silver. So smart guy, read his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He actually is the one who motivated me to grow my business, and I was one of his producers for his movie he recently did. But there's some things I like, he says, sometimes he doesn't. But maybe I'm missing out here. Maybe I should go buy silver, but I'm not going to, because I have my own version to my story. Jim Cramer, he says, late July, he advised against trading the precious metals as it could be peaking, which it was very much so peaking. A lot of people were calling me at that time. And he recommended buying Barrick Gold as a long-term investment play. So long-term, Warren Buffett bought it, even Jim Cramer is buying it. It doesn't mean you should go out and buy it, okay? Again, you want an advisor to review everything and see where you're at and see if there's any holes, see if you want to add anything to your plan. Now, Dave Ramsey, he always cracks me up because he has his own wild opinion. Remember, these are all professionals. Doesn't mean you have to listen to everything they say, but maybe take little pieces from them. Dave Ramsey says, gold is a bad investment. There you go. There you have it. Dave Ramsey in a nutshell. I don't own gold except some cufflinks and my watch. Okay, got that. I got a pair of earrings. It's a commodity, which translated means it creates no revenue. I invest in things that create revenue. So he has his take on it. I do believe in investing in some gold. I like investing in exchange traded funds, and so we put that in our clients' portfolios, but I don't believe in investing in a bunch of gold. And then Investopedia, if you're buying gold as part of your portfolio diversification strategy, ETFs are the best way to go. Hey, that's what I said. If you want protection in the event of system-wide crashes, you want to own physical metal, probably. So if you're just doing it for the long term, you want some income from it, they like ETFs. But if you think there's a major crisis, you want it for bartering, buy the physical gold. So I kind of, back up for what Investopedia is talking about. So there's a lot of conversations about gold and silver. I know there's a question out there. So let me go ahead and answer the question. So spot price and collectibles, it just depends on what it is. It depends. It could be a collectible now that they're saying, but in 20 years, is it really collectible because there's so much supply? So that's a hard one. Some of these Eagle coins that were supposed to be collectibles, 20 years down the road, they're not actually making as much money as they once said. So it's really hard to say, but yes, it certainly can be. So definitely that's just something you want to come in on a one-on-one or do a conference call and talk about, because you want to make sure you get it right. We have a local person that could give you, great direction on that and what they're seeing, because it changes. So yeah, great question though. But yeah, I mean, anybody who doesn't know what they were talking about, that's just really getting into, terminology on what it's worth now, if I get a discount now, if I'm paying premium and that sort of thing. So, and then the commissions, discounts, spot price. I had somebody who recently called and said, Charisse, I can get gold for $1,800. It's worth $2,200 now. Should I buy it? It's like, it's not a bad buy, but I didn't like how he had to get his hands on that gold. He had to send cash and then they're going to deliver it. I was like, no, I don't think I would do that. It's a little risky. Do you have another question, Mikey? Okay. All right. So that was gold. Again, don't go alone with gold. I'm not advising you to buy gold, but that's something we do for our clients. So thanks for tuning in now. I'm just going to give you a quick travel deal and a discount deal locally. So we're going to do one of the most popular ones today, Daytona Beach. You can never go wrong going there. It's only about 2.5 hours, depending if you live in Ocala or Gainesville. You can drive on the beach there, which I love. You can even head down to New Smyrna Beach because it's hard sand, but they have the NASCAR races there. They have the boardwalk, the Ferris wheel, and then they have this really cool place, and it's called the Lagoon Water Park. It's great for grandkids. So if you have grandkids, great place to go because they have go-karts, laser tag. These kids just love laser tag today. It wasn't around when I was this young, but it's popular. And they also have water slides, and they have a special rate right now for $22.49, which is great. There's also the hop cycle. Has anybody ever been on one of these hop cycles? Do you have a picture of that up, Mike? So hop cycle, I did this with my family over Thanksgiving. I think it was 2 years ago. It was so much fun. You don't have to have a group of people. But if you have family, you just get on and you bike and they do tours. You go around and it's just the biggest laugh ever. But it's a historic pedal bus tour. And you get a little exercise. And I hear some people actually drink beer while they're doing it. I wouldn't. It's not drinking and driving. How do they get away with that? But it's super duper fun. So I highly recommend it. Any age can do it because you're not pedaling that hard. You got a group of people doing it. Okay. Restaurants. I like Krabby's Oceanside. They have fresh seafood. They have live music. You can sit inside. You can sit outside. I just love they're so organized because they have a calendar. You can see all the future events coming in, any food specials. So, and they're doing a really, really cool thing right now. So if you're a teacher, listen up. You can submit your Amazon wish list on their Facebook page. You're picking a couple teachers and they're paying for everything on your wish list. So if you know a teacher, let them know to go to Krabby's Oceanside website and put their Amazon wish list in. That's really cool. They just like to give back. I love companies who love to give back. Last but not least, our local discount. Home Depot, they extended their Labor Day sale to 40% off appliances and ovens and washers and dryers all the way through September 16th. So still a killer deal. And then also Sears, I don't know if we have a Sears in Ocala anymore, or if it's, I don't even get to our mall hardly ever, but I think Gainesville's isn't around either. So wherever you're at, if there's a Sears, they also have till September 12th, 40% off appliances, and have 18 months financing for purchases of $999 or more. So again, thank you all for tuning in for learning about gold and commodities, and apologize for my little breakup. I had somebody come in and threw me off, but I'm here to educate you, number one, hopefully inspire you to get you to save and think about some of these ideas and get you to retirement and beyond. And if you have any questions, you can go to Zinnia Wealth Management. There's a little calendar thing, blue calendar bucket there, and you can schedule a 15-minute appointment. And don't forget the Little Red Book to Retirement. It is on our website. It's absolutely free. I recommend, encourage any age, anybody to read it. Kind of wets your whistle. It's only 37 pages. And again, thanks so much. We'll see you here next Wednesday at 3:30. So live by design and not by default.
She is a financial planner and advisor.
She's the founder and president of Zinnia Wealth Management. It's also a popular radio show.
There's a way to have your money in the market and have protected growth.
This holistic approach will help people get to and through retirement.
Absolutely.
You have to change the way that you think. It's not about having these double-digit returns anymore. Things are changing, and you have to have an advisor that's keeping up with the changes.
Your outcome is going to become very desirable if you have some sort of coach helping you along the way.
And our next recipient from the Media and Communications Expo, Charisse.
Charisse Rivers.
Do not have to risk all your money in the market to survive, because it's about the retirement dream.